I was briefed by my first deputy mayor, my chief of staff, my chief counsel, the police commissioner, as well as other members of my team. I called the president and spoke with him directly to register my opposition to this act and to make clear that it was an opposition based on being opposed to a pursuit of regime change, to the violation of federal and international law, and a desire to see that be consistent each and every day. I registered my opposition, I made it clear, and we left it at that.
Thanks, Timmy.
Good evening, Patriots, and welcome back to Harlan Reports. I'm Harlan Whitaker. Before we get into this story that is absolutely rocking the world tonight, I need you to do something for me. Please, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and share this video with everyone you know. The mainstream media might try to hide the truth or spin it, but here, we speak the truth loud and proud. We need to get this message out to every corner of our great country. Tonight, we have a story that will make your heart swell with pride and maybe, just maybe, bring a tear to your eye. It is a story about justice. It is a story about strength. It is about our president, Donald J. Trump, doing exactly what he promised to do. The title of tonight's report is Zohran Mamdani slams Trump for kidnapping Maduro. Then Trump shuts him down with one brutal fact. But folks, it is so much more than just a headline. It is history happening right before our eyes. So, grab a tissue, settle in, and listen closely. You do not want to miss a single second of this.
This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, you know, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States. And the president addressed it.
Tremendous numbers of people were being killed through drugs. And what they did to our country in sending prisoners and people from mental institutions and drug lords and everything. They sent them by the hundreds of thousands of people into our country. And that is just unforgivable. That's why, you know, he wanted to negotiate at the end, and I didn't want to negotiate. I said, nope, we got to do it. You know, he was trying to negotiate at the end. You probably saw that. And trying hard to make a deal. And I said, and, you know, this could have been a very foolish thing if it didn't work out. But I said, nope, we can't do it. What he did with drugs is bad. What he did with a lot of other things is bad. But what he did was sending hundreds of thousands of Tren de Aragua and drug dealers. And they emptied out their jails into our country. They emptied out, if you think about it, they emptied out all of their mental institutions into our country. What he did there, and every other thing, is unforgivable.
My fellow Americans, I am speaking to you, live on this electrifying day, January 4th, 2026. I have been a news anchor for over 30 years. I have seen presidents come and go. I have covered tragedies that broke our hearts and triumphs that lifted us up. But I have to tell you, right now, tonight, I have never felt an energy like this. It feels like the whole world just stopped turning for a second, took a deep breath, and cheered. Just a few hours ago, the White House released news that hit like a thunderclap. President Trump, our 47th president, gave the order, and our brave American special forces answered the call. Nicolás Maduro, the man who has caused so much pain, so much hunger, and so much sadness in Venezuela, has been captured. He is no longer in power. He is in custody. When I first heard the news, I honestly had to sit down. I felt a lump in my throat. Think about what this means. For years, we have watched a beautiful country just south of us turn into a nightmare. We have seen mothers crying because they couldn't feed their babies. We have seen fathers walking thousands of miles just to find safety. We have seen the drugs and the chaos spill over into our own neighborhoods, threatening our own kids. It felt hopeless for so long. It felt like the bad guys were winning. But today, President Trump said no more. This isn't just a military operation. It feels like a miracle. It was swift. It was precise. Like an eagle swooping down to protect its nest. Our troops went in and got him. And the best part? Not a single American soldier was hurt. They are all coming home safe. Just imagine the relief their families are feeling right now. Imagine the pride in their hearts knowing their dads and moms did something that changed history. This moment is about more than politics. It is about right and wrong. It is about good finally triumphing over evil. President Trump didn't just make a political move. He saved lives. He stood up for the forgotten people. He stood up for us. I can feel the tears welling up just thinking about the millions of prayers that were finally answered today. It is a day of deliverance. It is a day where we can look at our children and say, see, justice is real. The nightmare is over and a new day is breaking, and it is all because we have a leader who isn't afraid to lead. This is what America First feels like, and it is beautiful.
Zohran Mamdani needs to understand that he is a mayor of a city and no one needs to hear his opinions on international diplomacy. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you by now you've heard that Nicolás Maduro, the communist dictator head of a gang who was funneling drugs and trafficking people into the interior of the United States of America, was snatched out of his sleep by President Donald J. Trump and sent on an all-expenses-paid trip to Brooklyn, New York to serve justice for the crimes he has committed against the American people. Nonetheless, new Mayor Zohran Mamdani needed to assert his opinion in the matter. He said he was briefed, which I guess means he saw it on X like the rest of us, and that he called the president and spoke to him directly to let him know that he didn't approve. And what I need Zohran Mamdani to understand is that you are a mayor of a town. Granted, it's the largest city in America, but you are a mayor nonetheless. It is your job to make sure these buses run efficiently and that the trash is picked up on time and that there are no potholes for people to get their cars damaged in, okay? No one wants to hear your opinion on international relations and what the Trump administration chooses to do with known narco-terrorists. So maybe just sit this one out, Zohran.
You to close your eyes for a second. Imagine a playground, just a regular playground like the one down the 4th Street from your house. Kids are laughing, swinging, maybe playing tag. It's a happy sound, right? That's what every parent wants for their child. But in Venezuela, under the dark shadow of Nicolás Maduro, those playgrounds went silent. For years, the only sound you could hear wasn't laughter. It was the rumble of hungry stomachs. This man, this dictator, didn't just break the laws, he broke hearts. He took a country that was rich and beautiful, a place where people danced and sang, and he turned it into a place where finding a piece of bread was like finding a diamond. Mothers were forced to choose which child would eat that day. Fathers cried in secret because they couldn't protect their families. It wasn't just poverty, it was cruelty. It was evil, pure and simple. And while all this suffering was happening, while innocent people were hurting, what was the world doing? Many politicians just talked. They had meetings in fancy rooms with air conditioning and bottled water. They wrote papers. They expressed concern. But words don't fill bellies. Words don't stop the pain. That's why today is so emotional. That's why I can barely keep my voice steady. Because while others talked, President Trump acted. He saw that pain and he felt it. He looked at those silent playgrounds and said, "I'm going to bring the laughter back." When our special forces went in today, they weren't just capturing a bad guy. They were delivering hope. They were telling every child who went to bed hungry, "You are not forgotten." They were telling every mom who prayed for a miracle, "Help is here." Think about the courage it took for our president to make that call. He knew the critics would scream. He knew people like Zohran Mamdani would try to twist it and make him look bad. But he didn't care about the noise. He cared about the people. He cared about doing what was right, not what was easy. That is the definition of a hero. A hero runs into the fire when everyone else is running away. And today, President Trump ran into the fire for the sake of humanity. This isn't about politics, folks. It's about the heart. It's about looking at a bully and standing up to him. It's about proving that in this world, good can still win. And knowing that our country and our America led the charge. That fills me with a pride so deep, it feels like my chest might burst. We are the good guys again. We are the beacon of light in a dark world. And for the first time in a long time, millions of people can finally see that light shining bright. But folks, even on a day as beautiful and bright as this, there is a dark cloud trying to block the sun. While millions of us are cheering, while families are hugging each other in relief, there are voices out there, right here in our own country, that are trying to tear this victory down. And honestly, it hurts. It hurts deep in the soul to see it. Enter Zohran Mamdani. You might know the name. He is the new mayor of New York City, sworn in just a few days ago. He is a young man, a leader of the biggest city in America. You would think, on a day when a brutal dictator is finally caught, a day when the world gets a little safer, that an American mayor would say, "Great job." You would think he would say, "Thank you to our troops." But no, Mamdani didn't do that. Instead, he went on X, what we used to call Twitter, and he typed out words that make my blood boil. He didn't celebrate freedom. He screamed kidnapping. He screamed illegal war. Can you believe that? Let that sink in for a moment. Our brave soldiers, our sons and daughters, flew into danger. They risked their lives to stop a monster who has starved children and destroyed a nation. They did it perfectly, without hurting a fly. And Zohran Mamdani calls them kidnappers. He calls their bravery a crime. It feels like a betrayal. It feels like a knife in the back of every soldier who laced up their boots this morning. It is a slap in the face to every Venezuelan mother who has been praying for this day. Mamdani looked at a hero and a villain, and he decided to defend the villain. He decided to side with the guy who puts innocent people in jail, rather than the president who set them free. Why? Because he is blinded by a radical ideology that teaches him to hate America first values. He is so focused on being woke, so focused on attacking President Trump, that he has lost his common sense. He has lost his moral compass. It breaks your heart, doesn't it? To see an American leader who seems to hate it when America wins. But here is the thing about bullies and critics. They usually talk the loudest when they know they are wrong. Mamdani thought he could shame the president. He thought he could use big words and angry tweets to make us feel guilty for doing the right thing. But he made a massive mistake. He forgot who is sitting in the Oval Office. He forgot that Donald Trump doesn't back down from a fight, especially when he knows he is right. Mamdani lit a match, but he didn't realize he was standing next to a volcano, and that volcano was about to erupt. President Trump didn't wait. He didn't hide. He didn't ask his team to write a polite letter. When he heard what Mamdani said, calling our heroes kidnappers, he did what a real leader does. He stood up. He walked right out to the podium in the White House, looking stronger and more determined than I have ever seen him. You could see the fire in his eyes. He wasn't just defending himself, he was defending every soldier, every veteran, and every American who believes in justice. And then, he said it. One sentence. Just one simple sentence that silenced the room and shut down the haters instantly. He said, "Obama killed bin Laden without permission. I brought a dictator to justice." Boom. It was like the air went out of the room. The reporters were stunned. Mamdani's angry tweets suddenly looked so small, so silly, because Trump was right. When President Obama sent the SEALs to get bin Laden, nobody asked for permission. Nobody called it a kidnapping. We cheered. We celebrated because a bad man was gone. So why is it different now? Why is it okay for one president to stop a terrorist, but illegal for President Trump to stop a dictator who starves children? It isn't different. It is hypocrisy, and President Trump exposed it in 5 seconds flat. He didn't need a teleprompter or a script. He just spoke the truth, and the truth has a way of cutting through the noise like a hot knife through butter. That is the genius of Donald Trump. He doesn't play by their rules. He doesn't let them bully him. He fights back with facts, and when he fights, he wins. Seeing him stand there so confident and so right makes you realize how lucky we are to have a fighter in the White House. He isn't just a politician, he is a warrior for common sense, and today, he won the battle without breaking a sweat. Let's really dig into that silence for a moment. Folks, you know the silence I'm talking about. It's the sound of a balloon popping. It's the sound of a bully who just got stood up to and has nothing left to say. When President Trump dropped that truth bomb about bin Laden, the woke crowd, the people like Mayor Mamdani who love to lecture us about how bad America is, they froze. They froze because, for the first time in a long time, they had absolutely nowhere to hide. For years, we have watched politicians and media heads twist the truth. They tell us that up is down and down is up. They tell us that protecting our borders is mean, but letting criminals in is kind. They tell us that loving our country is wrong. It drives you crazy, doesn't it? It makes you feel like you are screaming in a room where no one is listening. It hurts your heart to see the country you love being painted as the villain. But today, President Trump stopped all that. He put up a wall of truth. By comparing his capture of Maduro to the raid on bin Laden, he forced everyone to look in the mirror. If it was heroic to stop a terrorist who hurt Americans, why is it kidnapping to stop a dictator who is starving millions and poisoning our streets? The answer is simple. It isn't, and they know it. Deep down, even the angriest critics know he is right. And seeing them silenced, seeing them scramble because they can't spin this, it brings tears to my eyes, honestly. It makes me cry because it feels like a vindication. It feels like someone finally stood up for us. President Trump didn't just shut down a mayor. He shut down the lies that have been beating us down for years. He stood there like a protective father guarding his family and said, "We are not the bad guys. We are the heroes." That feeling of relief? It washes over you like a warm wave. You don't have to apologize for being American anymore. You don't have to feel guilty for wanting safety. The President of the United States just validated everything we believe in. With one sentence, he destroyed the woke narrative that says America is always at fault. He reminded the world that when America acts, we act for good. And watching those false narratives crumble to dust in seconds, it is the most beautiful thing I have seen in a long, long time. We can finally breathe again. The truth has set us free. You know, folks, there is a feeling you get when you know your house is safe. You lock the front door, you check on your sleeping kids, and you take a deep breath. For a long time, America hasn't felt like that. We felt like the front door was wide open. We felt like the bad guys were laughing at us, pushing drugs into our towns and chaos into our streets. We felt like nobody was watching the gate. But tonight, the sheriff is back in town. When President Trump took down Maduro, he sent a message that rang out louder than any siren. He didn't just tell Venezuela, he told the drug cartels, the gangs, and every single person who wants to hurt our families, the party is over. I was talking to a Border Patrol agent just 10 minutes ago, a tough guy, a man who has seen things that would give you nightmares. He was crying. He told me, "Harlan, for years we felt helpless. We watched the drugs come in and couldn't stop it at the source. But today I feel like I can actually do my job. I feel like we are winning." Hearing a grown man cry like that, it breaks you down. It makes you realize how heavy the burden has been. Think about the moms and dads in Ohio and New Hampshire who have lost kids to the fentanyl crisis. Poison that often starts its journey in places like Venezuela. Tonight, those supply lines are shaking. The criminals are scared. They know that if the President of the United States can reach out and grab a dictator, in his own palace, there is nowhere they can hide. This is what America First really means. It isn't just a slogan on a hat. It means putting your safety first. It means making sure that when you send your little girl to school, or your son drives to work, they are protected by the strongest nation on earth. It's the feeling of knowing that the person in the White House isn't worrying about being nice to our enemies. He is worrying about you. I look at the screen right now, showing the American flag, waving in the wind, and I just want to salute. We aren't weak anymore. We aren't the punching bag of the world. We are the lions, and let me tell you, it feels good to roar again. It feels good to know that tonight, millions of American parents will sleep a little sounder, knowing that the monsters are finally on the run. The darkness is retreating, folks, and the dawn is here. You know, in this business, you hear a lot of noise. You hear politicians screaming for attention. You hear pundits arguing, just to hear their own voices. But sometimes, if you listen really closely, you hear something else. You hear the heartbeat of the real America, and today, that heartbeat is pounding so strong it could shake the mountains. I want you to think about the forgotten men and women of this country. The steel worker in Pennsylvania who lost his job because of bad trade deals. The mom in Arizona who is terrified every time her kids play outside. The veteran who feels like the country he fought for left him behind for years. They have been told to sit down and shut up. They have been told that their values are outdated, that their patriotism is offensive. Zohran Mamdani and his friends in the big cities, They look down on these people. They think they know better. They think they can lecture us from their high horses. But today, President Trump looked at all those forgotten Americans and said, "I see you, I hear you, and I am fighting for you." That is why people are crying today. I'm not talking about sad tears. I'm talking about the tears that come when you finally put down a heavy weight you've been carrying for too long. It is the relief of knowing that you aren't crazy for loving your country. It is the joy of seeing a leader who actually keeps his promises. I saw a video earlier, just a shaky clip from a cell phone. It was an old man, a Vietnam vet, watching the news of Maduro's capture. He was sitting in his recliner, wearing his old service hat, and he just started sobbing. He said, finally, we are winning again. That right there, that is what this is all about. It isn't about geopolitical strategy or poll numbers. It is about dignity. It is about restoring the pride of a nation that has been beaten down, but never broken. When Trump silenced Mamdani with that one brutal fact about bin Laden, he didn't just win an argument. He vindicated every single person who has ever been called a name for wearing a MAGA hat. He proved that common sense is still alive. And realizing that we are back, well, it's enough to make a grown man weep with joy. The forgotten men and women aren't forgotten anymore. Folks, they are the heroes of this story. Folks, let's talk about something we haven't felt in a long time. Respect. Real, undeniable respect. For years, it felt like the world was laughing at us. It felt like other countries took advantage of our kindness and mocked our weakness. But today, the laughter stopped dead in its tracks. The world is standing at attention. I am looking at reports coming in right now from South America, countries like Brazil and Colombia. These are our neighbors. For a long time, things were shaky. But today, they are praising President Trump. They are rushing to strengthen ties with the United States. Why? Because strength attracts friends. When America walks tall, the world walks with us. President Trump didn't just remove a dictator. He restored order to the entire hemisphere. He showed that we are the leaders, not the followers. But I know what some of you are thinking. You're sitting there at home, maybe worrying about bills, and you're asking, Harlan, that's great for the history books, but what about me? What about my family? Well, let me tell you, this victory is for you more than anyone else, because when President Trump brings stability to the world, he brings prosperity right to your kitchen table. We all know the pain of high prices. We know the sinking feeling when you look at the gas pump, and the numbers just keep going up. It steals your hard-earned money. It steals your dreams. But with Maduro gone, the markets are reacting instantly. Oil prices are stabilizing. That might sound like boring business talk, but let me translate it into real life. That is money staying in your pocket. It is a family vacation to the beach that you don't have to cancel. It is a new bicycle for your grandson. It is the ability to fill up your truck and still have enough for a nice steak dinner on Friday night. President Trump understands this better than anyone. He knows that America first means American families first. He isn't just playing chess on a map. He is fighting to make sure you have a better life. He is the visionary building a brighter tomorrow, where you don't have to choose between gas and groceries. I want you to picture that future for a second. Picture a dad in Wisconsin or a mom in Georgia, pumping gas a few months from now. The price is low, the sun is shining, they aren't stressed, they are smiling. That smile, that peace of mind, that is the gift President Trump gave us today. He is looking out for the little guy by making the big moves. And honestly, knowing that we have a president who connects those dots, who fights for your wallet just as hard as he fights for your safety, it just fills you with gratitude. We aren't just surviving anymore, patriots. We are finally starting to thrive. I want to take a moment to look at the bigger picture. We are living through history right now. 50 years from now, our grandkids will be sitting in history class, opening their digital textbooks, and they will read about this day. They will read about the day America stood up. They won't read about the critics. They won't read about the angry tweets from people like Mamdani. Those voices will fade away, like dust in the wind. But what will remain? The legacy of freedom. President Trump is building something that will last longer than any of us. He is building a world where dictators know they can't get away with hurting people. He is building a world where America is the shining city, on the hill again, guiding the way for everyone else. It makes me think of my own father. He was a simple man, a hard-working man. He always told me, Harlan, freedom isn't free, you have to fight for it. And today, watching our president fight for us, watching him take on the whole world to do what is right, I know my dad is looking down from heaven with a smile on his face. This isn't just about catching one bad guy. It is about proving that the American spirit is alive and well. It is about showing that we still have the courage to do hard things. We haven't lost our way. We haven't forgotten who we are. We are the land of the free and the home of the brave. And today, we proved it to the entire universe. Every time I see that news ticker scroll across the bottom of the screen, confirming the capture, I get goosebumps. It is a reminder that we are part of something special. We are part of a nation that doesn't just watch history happen, we make it happen, and we make it happen with strength, with honor, and with a love for liberty that can never be extinguished. So hold your heads high, patriots. Today, you are witnessing the rebirth of American greatness. Good evening, patriots, and welcome back to Harlan Reports. I'm Harlan Whitaker. Before we get into this story that is absolutely rocking the world tonight, I need you to do something for me. Please, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and share this video with everyone you know. The mainstream media might try to hide the truth or spin it, but here, we speak the truth loud and proud. We need to get this message out to every corner of our great country. Tonight, we have a story that will make your heart swell with pride and maybe, just maybe, bring a tear to your eye. It is a story about justice. It is a story about strength. It is about our president, Donald J. Trump, doing exactly what he promised to do. The title of tonight's report is Zohran Mamdani slams Trump for kidnapping Maduro. Then Trump shuts him down with one brutal fact. But folks, it is so much more than just a headline. It is history happening right before our eyes. So, grab a tissue, settle in, and listen closely. You do not want to miss a single second of this. My fellow Americans, I am speaking to you, live on this electrifying day, January 4th, 2026. I have been a news anchor for over 30 years. I have seen presidents come and go. I have covered tragedies that broke our hearts and triumphs that lifted us up. But I have to tell you, right now, tonight, I have never felt an energy like this. It feels like the whole world just stopped turning for a second, took a deep breath, and cheered. Just a few hours ago, the White House released news that hit like a thunderclap. President Trump, our 47th president, gave the order, and our brave American special forces answered the call. Nicolás Maduro, the man who has caused so much pain, so much hunger, and so much sadness in Venezuela, has been captured. He is no longer in power. He is in custody. When I first heard the news, I honestly had to sit down. I felt a lump in my throat. Think about what this means. For years, we have watched a beautiful country just south of us turn into a nightmare. We have seen mothers crying because they couldn't feed their babies. We have seen fathers walking thousands of miles just to find safety. We have seen the drugs and the chaos spill over into our own neighborhoods, threatening our own kids. It felt hopeless for so long. It felt like the bad guys were winning. But today, President Trump said no more. This isn't just a military operation. It feels like a miracle. It was swift. It was precise. Like an eagle swooping down to protect its nest. Our troops went in and got him. And the best part? Not a single American soldier was hurt. They are all coming home safe. Just imagine the relief their families are feeling right now. Imagine the pride in their hearts knowing their dads and moms did something that changed history. This moment is about more than politics. It is about right and wrong. It is about good finally triumphing over evil. President Trump didn't just make a political move. He saved lives. He stood up for the forgotten people. He stood up for us. I can feel the tears welling up just thinking about the millions of prayers that were finally answered today. It is a day of deliverance. It is a day where we can look at our children and say, see, justice is real. The nightmare is over and a new day is breaking, and it is all because we have a leader who isn't afraid to lead. This is what America First feels like, and it is beautiful.